All right, if you're watching this, you're probably a full-time working dad. You got high energy kids, you want to lose at least 10, 15 pounds of belly fat while putting on muscle in a sustainable way over the next 4 months. If this sounds on point, you're in the right place. And honestly, this might be the most important video you watch all year because we're going to do it all without strict dieting, without hours of cardio, detoxes, really anything wild. It's beautiful. So you don't have to bounce back to your old weight the minute life gets busy. And the best part is that we are going to do it all in less than 5 hours a week. Before we dive in though, my name is Pat Doherty, and I'm going to show you how I helped my client Ben lose over 45 pounds of fat and build a body he didn't think was possible. And I love to use him as an example because when he got started, not only was he the average age of our clientele, he was the age of our average clientele, 44 years old. He never picked up a weight in his life. He never logged a meal before. He was the definition of starting from scratch. And so I'll show you what his initial 16-week transformation looked like, along with a bunch of other success stories in that time frame. But I'll also show you his whole journey with us so far, in case you're sitting in a similar boat as he was when he got started. But first, let's talk about who this program is for. So it's for men that want to lose 15, 30. I've had guys lose up to 90 pounds worth of fat while building lean muscle that actually sticks around. It's for dads that want a blueprint that can plug into their daily routine and make them feel like they leveled up, not just something that they feel like is another chore that they now have to get done by the end of the day. It's for the guy who's sick of guessing. He just wants to be told what to do so he can finally see results. Results that motivate him to show up again and again, month after month, year after year. You know, maybe you've tried a bunch of different things to get into shape, everything on the exercise side from like CrossFit, Orange Theory, maybe you've trained for a marathon, and then you've experimented with different nutritional, protocols like carnivore or intermittent fasting. Maybe you tried some weight loss injections, meal delivery services. And yes, they probably all worked for a little while, but the results never ended up sticking around and you ended up pretty much kind of back where you started, but maybe just a little bit more discouraged than you were going in, which is understandable. Perhaps you're in a place in life where you just know you could be giving more of yourself, whether it's at work or at home with your kids, with your partner, but you're tired, you're drained, and deep down, you know that you don't really need more hustle, you need a strategy. And even more than that, you need accountability. Something and someone to guide you, to hold you to a new standard, to make sure you don't waste another year of your life telling yourself, next time I'll stick with it. So if this sounds on point, then this program is for you. Let me get clear on who this is not for. It's not for guys who aren't serious about taking action. I don't work with men anymore who hide behind excuses, which can be everything from not having enough time in the day to not wanting to be a bodybuilder, which is virtually impossible. You can throw that excuse out the window now, to just not wanting to get started because they've never lifted before. It's also not for you if you want a quick fix. Because did you know that over 90% of people who lose weight gain it all back within 3 years? And this happens because they never took the time to learn about the things that actually matter. Things like understanding a calorie deficit, reverse dieting, how to eat on the road or at restaurants, read nutrition labels. And then, of course, the even more important aspects of all this, like managing their cravings and emotions when they hit hard. Unfortunately, there is no quick fix here. That is also permanent. If you expect to drop all the weight in 4 weeks just to look in to look good in someone's vacation photos, I'm probably not your guy. This program isn't for know-it-alls either. For years, I called my clients students because the men who see real changes are the ones who stay very curious and very coachable. Two huge attributes of great clients. They openly admit that there's a lot to learn, not just about food and exercise, but about themselves. So if you're stubborn, convinced you can figure this out all on your own, and you aren't really ready to grow along alongside other men that are committed to the process for at least 4 months, then this is not for you. But if you want radical change by taking action, then you're in the right place. Let's talk about some truths so that we're on the same page. You can have flat abs. You can have defined shoulders, muscular legs. You can feel strong, lean, athletic without spending more than 3 to 4 hours a week in the gym or at home, wherever you decide to lift. I roll with what I call a soft six-pack all year round. It's flat at rest and defined when flexed. And I don't obsess over every bite of food that I eat. And this works for me. I can eat pizza, bagels, french fries, fried chicken, and still be proud of how I look in and out of clothes. I got the energy to lift, to work, to show up for dad duty. And my body's pretty much ready for anything that I want to throw at it, which is the best part about all this. Whether it be soccer or jiu-jitsu or just helping someone move a couch, it's no problem. The problem isn't that this lifestyle is out of reach. It's that most guys are focused on the wrong things. They go all in on some extreme diet that cuts out everything they enjoy for like 60 to 90 days, or they try to outwork a bad diet with like a brutal training plan that they can't stick to for more than a few weeks. And deep down, they know it's not sustainable. They know they're setting themselves up to fail. And either way, the result's the same. It's a little progress forward followed by a big bounce back. And then the yo-yo just like continues, and it becomes more and more of who they are. So here's my advice, even if we don't end up working together, stop chasing the quick fixes. Because even if your friend swears that your buddy's cousin's girlfriend's fiance just did this crazy detox and it worked, let it go one ear and out the other. Instead, focus on time-efficient training, stuff that builds muscle and strength without taking over your life. A plan that's pretty much geared towards your goals, your schedule, previous injuries, things that you like to do in the gym. Focus on a flexible but structured nutritional plan that fits your lifestyle, that teaches you how to actually eat, not just what to cut out. And then lastly, a proven system. Like mine, for example, it's called the RISE method. That'll help guide you through the full transformation step by step. Because here's the truth, dude. You can spend your whole life spinning your wheels in this area. It's like anything else, okay? Wasting your time and energy on workouts that go nowhere, throwing your money at programs and apps that are made for the masses, and it results in you never really feeling truly confident in your skin. And it doesn't have to be that way. So don't worry. I'm not going to let that happen to you as long as you stick around. And that's why you're here. So let's talk mindset, because without this, no strategy, no meal plan, no training plan will stick. First off, there is no such thing as not enough time. Okay? There is no such thing as not enough time. It's not a time issue, it's a priority issue. And I get it, you've got kids, as do I. You have a probably demanding job, same here. I run a business. And while I know you might be wondering if I do this fitness thing full time, I do. Okay, the marketing, the sales, the client delivery, the back-end systems, unfortunately, they don't just create themselves, okay? I generally start my day around 4:45 so that I can get to the gym by 5:30. It's not every day, but it's most days, okay? And I don't do this because I love waking up early, but it's because I've accepted that that's what it takes to show up for everything else as just the man I want to be. Okay, and deep down, you know this too. Because maybe for the last 5, 10, 20 years, you've probably put everybody else first, whether it be your boss, your employees, your family, the dog. And every morning you look in the mirror and you see exactly what that's cost you. Okay? So no, it's not about finding the time. It's about deciding, finally, that you matter too. Okay? Secondly, another huge, important mindset shift is that there is no perfect time to start. You have told yourself later long enough. And here's the truth. The guys who win at this do not wait for the perfect conditions. They learn how to stay consistent even when life is chaotic. work stress, sick kids, vacations, holidays. I mean, you name it, man. I mean, the rules don't change. Like, we don't binge on the weekends just because we were good at work all week. We don't fall off the wagon just because life gets hard. We stay in the game because staying in the game is what creates change, period. Okay, if you want to start believing in yourself again, you have to show up. Okay, no matter what month it is, no matter what's going on around you, that's the recipe on how to become the next best version of yourself, especially in this area. Okay. Third, let's talk about money. You've got real responsibilities. I know. Trust me. Okay, I've paid my way through college. Okay, put a bullet in my head. I've lived in New York and I've lived in Boston. Top 3 most expensive cities in the United States for the last 15 years. And I'm pretty sure my daughter's daycare could be another mortgage payment. Okay, so that I get it. I get that every time you think about investing in yourself, especially in something where like it takes work and you're not sure if it's going to work for you, you feel the fear. Okay, you fear the guilt because you feel like, hey, I should be doing this on my own, or this money could go to the next vacation, or it could be going towards savings or investments or the 529. And so I know all that stuff creeps in. Okay, but if you keep on putting yourself last, there might not be much of you left to give 10 years from now. It's the truth. Okay, this isn't just a 16-week program. This is the decision to upgrade the only thing that's holding everything else together: your energy, your health, and your confidence. And it's not cheap, but neither is staying stuck. Okay? If you don't solve this now, you'll be spinning your wheels, gaining and losing the same 10, 20 pounds, wondering why your energy, your focus, and your belief in yourself keep fading. So this isn't a splurge. It is a strategy upgrade for life, okay? When you learn this stuff, you don't learn it for the short term. You learn it for life. And then finally, let me hit you with one more uncomfortable truth. You're not going to have the perfect run, okay? You're gonna skip workouts. You're going to eat the pizza. You're going to hit plateaus. You're going to fall short. You might even tweak a couple body parts along the way. And that's not failure, okay? That's life. That's part of this journey. This program is not about being perfect. It is about being persistent. Let me say that again. This program is not about being perfect. It is about being persistent. Okay? You're a man carrying a heavy boat, man. Father, partner, leader, friend. And some days, one of those balls are going to hit the floor. And that's normal. You are human. What separates the men from getting what they want in this area is not about perfection. It is about resilience. The willingness to get back up, to recommit, to keep on showing up. Because the only way that you lose this game is that you stop playing. All right? And inside this program, I'm going to teach you how to play for life. So if you're ready to become a stronger, more energized, more dangerous version of yourself, the kind of dad that your kids look up to, the kind that your wife still gets butterflies around, I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to walk you step by step through the biggest mistakes most men make when trying to get in shape. The same ones that I made myself, and exactly how to avoid them. You'll see how I helped my client Ben lose the extra weight that he quietly carried for years. And how that one decision unlocked a completely different life for him. Because nowadays, Ben trains 5 days a week. Okay, this dude leads group workouts at his home. He bikes around with his kids. He plays soccer with other dads because he finally trusts his body again. And he's proud to share his journey with other dudes who were exactly in the same place he was. And that's the kind of shift that I want for you. So I'll show you how to lose 15 to 20 pounds over the next 120 days, how to feel strong, capable, confident in your own skin again, and how to do it while all just still eating the foods that you love and spending less than 3 to 4 hours in the gym each week. But as I said earlier, I did not always have this figured out. Not even close. In fact, I had to learn it the hard way. I was a very solid athlete growing up. I played sports all year round, starting as a kid, and like the violent ones too. Wrestling, football, and lacrosse. But no one ever taught me how to take care of myself. I never took it upon myself to teach myself either. So I'll take full responsibility for that. And by the time freshman year of college came around, it pretty much all caught up to me. The back pain started first, herniated discs, then came a torn meniscus during my last wrestling tournament of my freshman year. And just like that, my identity as an athlete kind of got stripped away from me. And it's sad too, because I had never been injured in the 15 years that I had been playing sports, not once. Okay, so within a year, I was kind of scared to move. Okay, my legs were not strong enough to trust. My back couldn't handle even the basic movements, like shooting in on a teammate during practice. And then every effort that I took to fix it, the physical therapy, the injections, the acupuncture, it only gave me temporary relief. At my lowest point, the only options left were to either have a rod down my spine or just take a lifetime supply of painkillers. So I have been where a lot of guys are when they come to me, just kind of feeling broken, frustrated, and just unsure on how to move forward. But I didn't want to give up my livelihood. So I ditched my economics degree. I became a personal trainer. I made it my mission to just rebuild my body from the ground up. I trained, I studied, I found mentors, I spent years learning everything, and along the way, I started helping people do the same. And for the first decade of my career, I helped men in their 30s, 40s, 50s become stronger, more injury-resistant version of themselves. However, the one aspect that I did not change about them, no matter how many times we hit the gym floor together, was the amount of body fat that they carried. And it was because, like most trainers, we just didn't talk about nutrition. And it's funny because I didn't know it myself. It was just something I never really looked into. And I remember hitting leg workouts with other trainers, and I would just get extremely gassed. And it was because I just wasn't viewing myself properly. I remember a dude came up to me, he's like, "Yo, what did you eat today?" And I was like, "I had bacon, egg, and cheese for breakfast and like a turkey sandwich for lunch." And he's like, "Yeah, bro, you just eating blind." I remember those are the words he said. And so I dove headfirst into learning it. And it wasn't not just about like what to cut out from my diet, but really how to fuel myself in a way that built muscle, that burned fat, and supported real recovery. And when I finally combined the smart nutrition with the intelligent training, that's when everything really changed. I started up an online business on the side since I wanted to be able to help anyone regardless of their location. And a buddy of mine from middle school messaged me, asking if I can help him lose 50 pounds. He'd been lifting 5 days a week, but he could not see any changes in his physique. And so I just created a program that blended the exact training, nutrition strategies, and training methods that I learned. And over the course of the years, this is Mike, he lost all 50. And that was kind of the foundation of the Tone and Muscle Academy. So inside the TMA, I created the RISE method. It's pretty much a proven playbook designed specifically for dads who want to take back control of their health and their body. It's the result of 15 years of real-world experience condensed into a simple step-by-step system that's transformed the lives of over 100 men like you. These guys are dropping stubborn belly fat, they're building lean muscle, and they're feeling energized again all within 120 days. And right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down exactly what the RISE stands for and pretty much unveil what this method's all about. So the following is a step-by-step guide on what I do, what my clients currently do, and how they accomplish it in just 120 days. So obviously the RISE is an acronym. It stands for Recognize, Integrate, Sustain, and Elevate. And over the first 120 days of working with me, you will go through these 4 different phases. The Recognize phase takes up just the first 14 days. And it's really all about waking up to your own reality, not just some ideal routine that only works on paper. We first start by identifying what's actually going on. Like, how are you eating? How are you sleeping? What's your schedule like with your kids, your work? What's your life actually allow you to do? And it's not always the prettiest picture. Sometimes workouts happen at weird hours. Sometimes meals get skipped or logged late. Sometimes stress just gets in the way of structure. And it's all right. It's to be expected. This is the phase that we diagnose, we do not judge. Because if we want to get you to your real destination, we first need to figure out exactly where you're starting from. It's like Google Maps. You don't just get directions unless it knows your current location. So we track things like calories, protein, weight, the amount of steps you're taking. We log your lips, we identify weaknesses, but we also build awareness. And for the first time in years, you'll start to see exactly what's really going on under the hood. Once we got that honest picture in place, we move into phase 2, integrate. That's when we start stacking real habits that actually move the needle, but in a way that fits your life, not the other way around. We might shift your sleeping routine so you wake up a little earlier and actually feel ready to train. Perhaps you start adding in higher protein foods that keep you fuller for longer so you're not white knuckling your way through every craving or skipping meals and then overeating later. We layer in 3 focused lifts per week, short cardio blocks, and strategic nutrition adjustments that help you preserve the muscle mass while dropping body fat. You're not just doing more, you're doing the things that actually match your goals. The craziest part is that this phase feels easier than anything you've ever done, and it's because it's built on your life, your schedule, your preferences, and most importantly, your long-term vision as a man, a husband, and a father. In phase 3, though, things get real, okay? And this hits everyone a little bit of a different time, but the novelty of the program starts wearing off, okay? And life starts to push back. Perhaps work gets stressful or family life gets chaotic. But maybe it's something fun, like a vacation or a long weekend. Maybe it's an injury. Maybe you get sick. Whatever it is, it throws you off your rhythm. And now these habits, the lifting, the tracking the food, the getting enough sleep, they're not shiny anymore. They feel hard. They feel repetitive, maybe even boring. And this is where most guys would normally stall out. They hit the emotional valley of despair, the point where motivation dips, and real life tries to pull them back into their old routines. And that's exactly why sustain is part of the RISE method. We do not let you slide. We keep you grounded. We remind you why you started. Most importantly, we help you find the small wins so that the setbacks do not feel like overlooming failure. Because this isn't just about you building muscle or losing fat. It is about you building resilience. The kind that helps you push through the valley of despair and move you into the next level. Not quit and start over again in 6 months like you've done over and over again. You're human and life's going to happen, but with the right support, structure, and accountability, you will keep showing up. In phase 4, things start to really click. At this point, you've pushed through the valley of despair, the doubt, the boredom, the setbacks. They did not beat you. And now you're starting to believe that this can actually be permanent. You're back to tracking without resentment. You're hitting your workouts, not because you have to, because you want to. You're seeing results you didn't think were possible when you got started. You're feeling better in your clothes. And other people around you are noticing too. Ultimately, man, your identity has begun to shift. You're not just a guy trying to lose weight anymore. You're someone who lifts, someone who moves, someone who eats with a purpose. It's becoming part of who you are. You start maybe packing meals for trips. You start finding gyms on vacation. You no longer ask, how long do I have to do this? You're now asking, hey, what's next, Pat? What else am I capable of? This phase starts to really show where the spark becomes the fire, because it's where consistency becomes identity. And the coolest part is it's not the finish line, it's just the launch pad. Because this isn't the end of your journey, it's the start of a lifestyle that fuels everything. Your energy, your confidence, your ability to lead, work, show up for people that you love. We built this program to create lasting change, and by the time you reach this phase, you'll know that deep down you're not going back. Let's talk about what makes this program work. So each phase is built upon 3 core pillars: your exercise, your nutrition, and your routine. When all 3 are aligned, that's when real change happens. You can't rely on just 1 or even 2 and expect long-term results. Transformation comes when they all work together. In the gym, the focus is on building and mastering form. This isn't just about avoiding injury. It's about learning to train in a way that actually builds muscle. Okay? It's a game of inches and seconds. Okay? You'll see. And you'll get personalized support with key concepts like progressive overload, tempo, rating of perceived exertion. Basically, the small details that most guys skip that cause them to end up spinning their wheels for years. Okay. On the nutrition side, it all starts at the grocery store. If it's not in your kitchen, you won't eat it. All right, we'll help you stock your home with high quality, easy to make meals that fit your goals. From there, we'll dial in your macros, teach you how to use flexible dieting to lose fat without cutting out your favorite foods every single week. You'll learn how to eat out when you're traveling. You'll learn how to manage real-life situations without falling off track, and you'll decide your own rate of loss. I've had guys that have completely stopped drinking. I've had guys that have said, hey, you know what, Pat? I don't really want to lose weight over the next couple of months. I kind of want to just have this amount of food, this amount of alcohol, and I'm okay with it. And I'm cool with it because you know what? If you know your calories, if you know the lifestyle you want to lead and you're happy and content with that, then that's what works. There's no more confusion here. And your routine, the last pillar, is the engine that keeps everything running. We're going to be talking about things like your morning routine, your sleep schedule, your work, when you take care of your kids, because it all matters, okay? One of the biggest shifts I see in the busy men, especially the dads, is that simply going to bed earlier so they can train before the day starts is really the biggest game changer that exists in this whole program. But it's not always a smooth transition. Sometimes it takes a while, a couple months, if not maybe a year. But this plan is built to work even when your life isn't perfect, even when you're not perfect, because you're not. Let's be honest. Neither am I. You know, you won't be doing 2-a-days. This isn't 75 hard. This is about building a lifestyle that fits your life and that actually sticks. And when the training, the nutrition, and the routine lock in together, energy rises, the muscle builds, the fat drops, and you start to look and feel like a stronger, more capable version of yourself. Now let's take a look at how we applied this system to Ben. Full-time lawyer, father of 2, and like I said earlier, never did a thing. 0 experience. Like I said, I like to use Ben as an example because, as you guys saw earlier, we have guys that have had to lose 10 to 15 pounds, but Ben had further to go. Okay, he was starting from, I think, like 240 something pounds and wanted to get sub 200. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what his transformation looked like in our level 1 program and then give you a bird's eye view of where he's at now over a year later. In the recognize phase, I gave Ben a simple assignment for the first 2 weeks. I said, do not, dude, change a thing about your diet. Just track what you eat and weigh yourself daily. That is it. Okay? Then I gave him a really effective, no-nonsense weight training plan that he can do at home using just his adjustable dumbbells and bench. There was no HIIT workouts. There was no jumping around, just like steady, smart strength training for a guy that has never worked out a day in his life, that fit his schedule, and that was focused on building muscle in the right way. Once, though, we had a clear picture of what his nutrition was, we made a very small but powerful change. Just enough to move him in the right direction without overhauling everything at once. We adjusted his targets to 125 grams of protein, 62 grams of fat, and 199 grams of carbs. And this is pretty much where he started to feel what everyone is in the program initially feels, just better energy, more focus, and a sense that something finally clicked. That was just the beginning. By the time Ben reached the integrate phase, he had already proven one thing, and that's that he shows up. And I love this. I love when someone just dials in, okay? That doesn't make excuses and that just gets stuff done. And he was just consistent, with logging his meals, his weight. He was carving out the time for his workouts. He was asking great questions to help himself move forward. So we gave him a little bit more. Nothing crazy, just a simple, walk, jog routine once a week to get his body moving in a different way and build a foundation for cardio on one of his non-lifting days. Since he was steadily losing weight, we didn't need to cut his calories. Instead, we just slightly increased his protein intake to start moving him towards the numbers that would help him build lean muscle and stay fuller for longer. Week 9 was Ben's first real test. Okay, he went on vacay. No problem. We planned ahead. Agreed on some light workouts to keep him moving, no equipment, but he didn't do them. And it was the first time that he broke his routine and his word. First time he didn't follow through. And when he got back, he wasn't just feeling guilty. He was questioning if this whole thing was worth continuing. Because his streak was broken. He was no longer perfect. At this point, his weight had also plateaued around 225 for almost a month at that point. And he just started doubting himself. But that's where our coaching came in. We reminded him that consistency over time always beats perfection. That a missed workout does not cancel out, the last 8 weeks of doing them. Okay? And that setbacks aren't the opposite of progress, they're part of it. Because look, you have something to learn every single time you fail, right? You know this from life. So we helped him reframe the situation and see we helped him see the lesson in the loss. We helped him get back on the plan. And sure enough, the weight started dropping again. His workouts got back on track. We fine-tuned his macros. We upped his protein again for more muscle and satiety. And the truth was that Ben didn't need a new diet. He didn't need motivational hacks. He just needed a different perspective, one that was not his own. Someone needed to pull him out of his own head. And that's the power of a coach. Because when your brain says, this isn't working, we say, keep going. You're just in the valley, dude. Okay? And that's where the real change happens. By the end of the elevate phase, Ben was down 20 pounds on the scale. And that does not count the muscle that he gained. So realistically, he lost closer to probably about 25 pounds worth of fat over the 16-week period. He felt so good that he got back on the soccer field for the first time in decades. And I'll be honest, he strained his quad in the second game, but we coached him through it. We're like, look, dude, just lay off the squats for a week and do these stretches and then get back out there with a better warm-up. And he was fine. So just another reason why coaching does matter. Okay. But at this point, Ben started thinking bigger. He saw what was possible. He started looking at new gym equipment for his house, asking about racks and barbells, figuring out how to expand what had already grew. We started mapping out his next level goals and what those would look like. Everything from diet adjustments to cardio progressions, training splits. He had his eye on 200 pounds. He really wanted it. And so we signed him up for phase 2 and within I think it was 2 months being in level 2, he plateaued again, this time at 215. And that's when he learned another lesson. And he had already learned this a little bit, but it really hit hard because his plateau lasted a while. And he just realized that nothing changes if nothing changes. He had become so self-aware, though, at this point where he was like, Pat, I am going to make these changes myself. He didn't even really need us to give him any suggestions. He started owning it. So fast forward, 12 months later, Ben's down at 185. Wild. Weighs the same as me, but he's 6'2". More than 50 pounds of fat lost. And what's absolutely crazy, and it's awesome, is that he's eating 2,300 calories per day. That is up from the 1,850 calories that he had to start at to lose weight a year prior. Okay, that's how much he has changed his metabolism by taking more steps, doing more cardio, adding more muscle mass, using things such as reverse dieting. He's eating almost 500 calories more worth of food, weighing 50 pounds less. Take that in for a second. This guy gets in over 200 grams of protein daily without struggling too much. And he's sober. Like I said, when he hit that plateau, he's like, yo, dude, I'm going to stop drinking. And I was like, all right, go for it. He's like, just for a month. I was like, okay, cool. 6 months later, the guy hasn't had a drink. He lifts 5 days a week now instead of 3, and just loves hitting personal records. Can do things like pull-ups and dips that were never, they just weren't in the cards when he started, you know? And while the physical changes are great, like what's wild is just that he's so happy with just like who he's become. You know, he just went on a trip with his family in India that he's been doing for years. He signed up for a gym for the first time and started lifting with the locals, sending pictures of me saying that he was having the most fun lifts that he's ever had, and that now on top of that, other family members are joining that gym because of him. I mean, come on. It's beautiful. So this isn't just about fat loss. This is like an identity change. This man has become a leader. And it's because he's taken the time to go through the process, to go through the ups and downs. So when you build the kind of confidence that like spills over into other corners of your life, you stop asking yourself if you can do hard things, and you start taking on new challenges just to continue to prove that you can. You know, when you go through transformation like this, nothing else feels off limits, because now like you got receipts, dude. You know, you show up, no questions asked. So the RISE method was pretty much built to help dads lose the gut, melt off the love handles, rebuild the muscle that just makes you feel solid again in 16 weeks. I designed it so that it's sustainable, it's simple to follow, but it's powerful enough to change everything. Not just the way you look, but as you can see, the way you live. You know, you take a look at Ben, like he started off the same reason most dads do. He was sick and tired of being sick and tired. He was tired of coming home with no gas in the tank. He was tired of dodging the mirror and pulling his shirt down at the beach. But once he started seeing results, once he looked in the mirror and actually liked what he saw, the guy never looked back. And what really clicked wasn't just the weight loss, it was the energy, man. Like the presence. Guy loves going on vacation, doesn't have to have a drink. He's good with it. You know, he's coming home from work and having the fuel to chase around 2 kids. And that's after knocking out a morning workout. You know, he's sharper in the mornings. You know, you got to just be honest. You know, when you show up for yourself, you're going to naturally start showing up better for everybody else. And that's what this RISE method is about. It's not just a transformation. It's a return to a man that you knew that was still in there. And once you get him back, man, everything else gets better. Now, if you're the type of guy who's done math before, you might have an idea of what this kind of thing might cost. So let's break it down. If you hire a personal trainer twice, 3 times a week at $100 a session, we're looking at about $800 a month minimum. And over 16 weeks, that's $3,200. A good nutritionist to build you a plan, check in weekly, give or take, about $100. So we'll add another $1,600 to that. And then let's say you wanted like an accountability coach to help you with your habits outside of the gym and the kitchen, someone you can check in with daily and just get support when you need it. I'd say that's probably a little bit over $1,000 for 4 months. Lastly, we offer courses inside so that you are learning about these things, and we also offer community. And I would say that's probably valued at about $500 to $600 easy. So, all in all, you're dropping over $6,400 for this 16-week program with the coaching, the training, nutrition, accountability, courses, community. But it's less than that. It's far less than that. And that's not even really the point of this. The point of this is that I don't really like to work with just anyone. I want to work with dads who are really ready to roll. Dudes that are just not here ready to make excuses, not here to kick the tire down the road. Because in the end, man, like, your results, they are my reputation. So I need to know before we pull the trigger that you're 100% in. Okay, so I got something for you. And I just want you to hear this. Like, if you're a dad, you've been putting yourself dead last for years. Your careers come first, the yard, the bills, the kid, the family. Even the damn dog gets fed before you do something for yourself. Now, every morning, you catch yourself glimpsing in the mirror and you feel it, the gut, the slouch, the exhaustion. You see what being at the bottom of your own totem pole looks like. Maybe you're tired of sitting on the sidelines while your kids are watching. I'm sorry, you're tired of sitting on the sidelines while your kids are running around the backyard. And you want to be in it. Not just watching, but playing, chasing, coaching. Okay? Maybe you're a new or expecting dad and you're thinking, I just want to show up more than I am. Because I know that once that little one gets here and I'm going to be more physically and emotionally challenged than I already am now, like, I need to do something different. You know, maybe you're the guy that just wants to actually feel good on vacation. You're not sucking your stomach in every photo or, you know, wear shirts in the pool. And look, I know that you don't want to look like a fitness model. I know you don't want to be a bodybuilder, but you do need to feel comfortable in your own skin, because the truth is that your presence is the perfect gift for your family. I mean, like, that's what they want from you. They just want you to be here in the moment. And that kind of starts with your energy, your confidence, and your strength. It starts with a body that lets you stay in the game. So that's why I built this. That's why I have the RISE method. We're talking real transformations here, 10, 20, 30 pounds down, building lean athletic muscle, and finally creating a routine that sticks. One that works with your life, not against it. No strict meal plans, no 2 days, no bullshit, just simple, sustainable training and nutrition plans that get you results, even if you feel like you got zero time and motivation right now. So here's the deal. If you commit, I commit. If you don't drop at least 10 pounds in the 16 weeks working with me, I will refund you. Because as I said, your results are my reputation. You show up, I will match that energy. So if you're watching this and any of it hit home, here's what I want you to do next. Click the link. Book the customization call, or if you already have, complete the application that goes along with this. We'll hop on for 45 minutes and map out exactly how this method would work in your world. You know, I've worked with dads who travel for work every month, dads with newborns, dads who haven't trained in 15 years or ever in their life. And they've dropped 25, 40, even 90 pounds under our wing, finally starting to feel proud of their bodies again. This method is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things consistently. So you're not just trying again next January. You are, in fact, a different man who went from trying to get things right to not being able to get them wrong. So if you're watching this on social media, YouTube, wherever, check the description or click the link, book your call. We'll talk. We'll make sure that we are a really good fit to work together, and then we'll build you a plan. And we'll make sure that you never have to start over again, ever. All right, brother? I'm looking forward to talking to you. And even better, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the other side.